Hi, I'm Paul Brodie. We're in my shop again. Mitch is behind the camera, making his magic on the other side. Again, I got asked, who is Mitch? So, this is my best way. This is what Mitch looks like when I'm in the shop. So, I hope that helps you. Looks like he's got the camera in front of his face, so that's not going to help at all, but maybe you get the idea. So today we're back on Aermacchi. We're going to mount the gas tank shell. I've got a bunch of stuff here. I've tried to get organized. I got my drawings. I did some sketches yesterday, and that was my first drawing. That didn't work out, so then I have drawing number 2. And we have to mount the tank. So let's wander over to the bike and have a look at what might happen today. So here's the shell. This is made out of fiberglass. It's not very heavy. It's kind of flexible, and we're going to use that flex to help mount it. There's going to be a tube that runs here. I actually put a mark there where the tube's going to go. I've got marks on the inside as well. I'm going to machine up some aluminum, I don't know what you call them. A rubber hose goes on, and they get bonded onto the side of the tank, 4 spots, and this is going to mount under the spine. We call this the spine, and then there's going to be a mount at the back as well. So I'm going to make a couple of brazons that get TIG welded onto the top of these tubes here. It's going to mount. So what's going to happen is that there's going to be 1 Allen screw underneath, easy access, and I can mount the bottom bit is going to sit in a couple of saddles. This tube, or a tube like this, is going to sit in saddles, so it holds it. And then on the front there's going to be a couple bits of hose and hose clamps. So if I want to take it off, I loosen a hose clamp, undo a 6mm Allen screw, and the shell comes off. So I want easy access. I didn't want anything showing on the actual tank, so everything is underneath and hidden, so it's going to look like the tank is floating there. That's what I wanted, a floating gas tank in a sense. So let's go to the lathe. I've got some aluminum. We'll do a little bit of machining. So I'm making 4 of those pieces right there out of aluminum. That's what I'm doing. Okay, this one's good. We just have to do that 3 more times. Okay, I'm going to find some coarse sandpaper now. I think I got some 40 grit. We're going to scuff this all up, and we're going to glue these onto the inside of the tank shell. So I got 80 grit emery cloth, and I'm just going to take a little scuff off here. I'll try not to take my red felt pen lines off. It'll just knock off any little high spots that are on the fiberglass. Yeah, that's okay. We got the Prattley steel set out of South Africa. I bought boxes of this stuff. It was such good stuff, and it seemed to be pretty reasonable, and it works excellent on aluminum fiberglass. It doesn't work on steel, I found, but if it's steel, I'll just weld it or braze it or something. So here we're gonna, oh, that's lots. What's nice about this is that it sets up in about 5 minutes so that you can, it doesn't move around after that, and then it fully cures in I think 4 hours. So that means that I can do one side, and then pretty soon after that I can put the other side on and start working on other things. So there we go. Equal amounts, more or less. I thought about this for a while, how to mount the tank, because it's not easy mounting a fiberglass shell onto a steel frame. So that's where we want it, like that. I can feel it starting to harden up a little bit here. So I guess the timing's pretty good. So there's my new mark right there. Press down a little bit, get a little bit of pressure. Okay, one side's done. What's next is to make the mounts that go on the frame. They're going to go right about here. There's going to be one on the left, one on the right. I got a piece of cold rolled here. It's 1018, it's 3/4. We're going to machine it down slightly. We're going to drill a hole, we're going to thread it, we're going to miter it for 7/8 tube, and then I've got a little fixture which I can use here to make sure that it lines up, because it needs to line up with the frame. So it's very handy having the frame cross member right here, because I can look down and line up these two mounts. Then I'll do a little sanding here, a little tig tack on both sides, and then we'll work on the plate that mounts on top, because that's going to hold the saddles. So this piece of metal here, it's just a piece of aluminum flat bar, 1/8 inch. We're going to drill 2 holes here, and they're 4 3/4 inches apart, and that's kind of crucial, because this is going to be the fixture that holds those 2 pieces we just made, and it's going to space them, and then I line up this edge with the cross member of the frame, and then I've got them exactly where I want them to be. So I'll put my marks there. First I thought it was going to be 5 inches, and then I changed my mind. It wasn't fitting properly. Okay, those pieces that go on the frame, we need to face them, make them the right length. We need to thread the hole, so we'll do the threading on the lathe. That goes pretty quick. Okay, 35 thou to come off. Okay, we're going to wander over to the bike now and see how this fits up. I'm marking where I need to sand, because I don't need to sand from here to here, but I do need to sand this bit. So that's my fixture. I have new welding gloves. One of the viewers, he's from Minnesota. He didn't leave his name, but he very kindly sent a couple pairs of nice TIG welding gloves. So I thank you. First time using them. So I need to hold it down with one hand and put a little tack there. That is a tiny, tiny tack. So let's see now if it lines up. I think it's good. This is the end of the tank, or actually this is the inside of the tank, but the tank has a thickness of 1/16 of an inch. So that's where that goes like that. There's going to be a gap there. And that'll look fine. So the next step is to cut out the metal. This has to be cut out of this. I went to Metal Mart yesterday and they gave me metal. Thank you, Metal Mart. So thank you, John. That's going to go like that, and we got to drill 3 holes and 2 holes. This mounts there, and the burp bottle goes inside there. We'll have to figure that out later. Right now, for today, we're just focusing on the tank shell. So here's the tube. It's a 3/4 inch OD. It's chrome moly 4130, probably 049 wall. Not very thick. Doesn't have a lot of weight. This tube is going to go in between here. So what I'm going to do is to measure this with my large vernier. I'll cut this off and then I'll face it. So that's the tube that goes in there. And if you look, you can see that these aren't perfectly in line with each other. That's where the rubber hose comes in. It allows a bit of misalignment, and the hose still holds the 2 tubes basically at the same spot, because that's what a rubber hose does. So I'll grab my vernier, and we'll cut this to length. So that's what it looks like. It's going to have a hose clamp here and on here. It's hard on the fingers. So there we go. We got the tube mounted. That's one step. And now we need to make a plate and some saddles. So these saddles, they're going to have a 3/4 inch cutout. I guess you call it a cutout or a miter. They go right there and there. This one here, it gets the full circle, and that's what pulls this down. It pulls this down onto the 2 saddles. That's what holds the back. So that should be pretty secure. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes to drill. Oh, look at that. It lines up. Pretty cool. Okay, so we're going to make some saddles now. That's what we're going to do. I got some 1/2 inch 6061. We're going to build saddles. I'm going to cut that, then we're going to go to the mill. We're going to face it nicely so we can hold it accurately, and then we're going to bore some 3/4 inch holes in there. So first step is the bandsaw. So halfway is going to be right around there. So we're going to put a 3/4 inch hole right there. And we'll put this one on top of this one. And we'll do them both at the same time. If I put a piece of cardboard down here, that's going to hold them together. So that's what it looks like. Take off the paper. So one of them is going to stay as a circle. That's the middle one that pulls down the tube. And the other two become the saddles. Let's go to the bandsaw and we'll cut this out. That's the saddles like that. How I set this up, I've got it's a 3/4 inch hole, so I put in a piece of 5/8 rod, and then I've got these blocks on each end. I've got cardboard down the back so that it holds all three. If you don't use the cardboard, it might not hold one or two, even though they're all the same width. So now I can take a cut, and then I can measure from the top down to the 5/8 dowel, and I'll know how much distance there is, because I need 3/8 of an inch. That's my standoff height. So that'll all happen all in a couple passes there. You won't actually see these when the bike's all assembled, but I know they're there, and I like things to be nice. I don't know if you've noticed. I'm going to put the vise upside down, and then these drawers are going to be on top of the surface here, and that's how I make the top perfectly flat. See how it's flat? That's what I want. Good there. Oh, looks good. I'm using my micrometer here. Make sure that everything stays in line. That's good. So this is what lines them up. And then we make them tight. So do you see how this works now? This goes on the tank over the tube, and it comes down like that. These two, I call them the saddles. That's what locates the tube. This pulls it down and locks. So basically that the rear part of the tank gets locked into place here. I think it's a good system. I've never done this before, but oopsie. There we go, like that. I don't know if I'll put that on right now. Let's work on the front. Let's get the front happening. So that's what that looks like. That's how that's going to fit. It's going to get the rubber there with a hose clamp on each side, so that holds it in place. And then we need to make a little piece that goes here. And the piece we're going to make looks like that. That's what it looks like. At first I thought I was going to use aluminum like that, but it's got an X through it. So we're going to make one of these out of steel. And then this is going to get silver soldered onto that right in the middle. And there's a 6mm hole there that gets bolted up onto this piece, which gets welded onto the bottom of the spine. So this is the size of the head of the 6mm. So I need to bring this back to about here. Something like that. And then I need to take it down to, I don't know, 1/8 of an inch, something like that. So I'm taking out a rectangle right here. See how I ground this one down? That works really well. See how it fits in there? That one's not going to work. It's very handy to have tools that are ground down. Okay, so next thing I do is just to round this. That's way too square, so it's got to get a nice little shape to it, and this is the easiest time because I've got all this to hold on to. Okay, so after all that, that's how it goes. It's going to get silver soldered onto there, and then there's going to be a mount underneath the spine. And this is way too long, but that's how it holds the tube up. I like it. Okay, so I'm gonna wash the oil off this. I'm gonna soak it in some lacquer thinner. Gonna sand this, find the center. Do some silver soldering. See if we can get the silver solder to stick. Oh yeah. Okay. that. I'll just flow this a little bit right here. There you go. Good, I like that. That turned out well. So I'm assembling this, but I'm putting the rubber a little farther in, and then I just have to, if I pull the tank apart, this should just pop in. Because see, I've only got what, 3/16 of an inch or so there. There we go, just pops in. We're going to put this on the back, and then we're going to see how much space is between here and the spine, not the spline. So that's on. And space, well, there's not much space, but it depends where the tank is. We have to know if this is level or not. This line is supposed to be level, so let's see what this shows. It looks good right where it is, and there's not much space. I calculated there'd be a little bit of space, but I guess not. If I mount it upside down, then I'm only mounting on this little piece here. That's not really what I want. I wanted to use the whole flat. I have to do a little bit of something a little bit more custom here to get a little bit of space in there, because I can't move these mounts now. Those are set, and I put them right at the bottom, so that's not going to move. I guess I could have overhung them a little bit and ground them off a little bit, but I didn't want to do that. It just wants to be just right where it is with those. I thought there was going to be at least 1/8 of an inch space there. What about if I fix this later? I'll get back to you all about how I fixed it, because I just needed that much space. That's all I needed, and I didn't get that much space. It's very, very close. Everything else worked out quite nicely. Unfortunately, we're out of time for today. Things have to happen, so I'm going to make that little piece that mounts underneath the spine. I'm going to make it in the next day or two. So I hope you've enjoyed watching what we've done so far here, mounting the shell. Thank you for tuning in. Mitch and I like coffee. If you buy us a coffee, thumbs up. See you next week. Stay safe. Take care.